Welcome to my virtual living room, wise women. I am so happy to have my dear wise woman, Marge Rubinus, on the show today. Marge has been practicing yoga with us in the community for a while now. I met Marge through a dear friend, her son, Pete Rubinus, who is married to one of my best friends from residency, Tara. Thank you so very much for being here today, Marge. I can't wait to have this conversation with you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
My first question for you is, when I say the phrase healthy woman, what comes to mind?
I think of a woman who can do whatever she wants. I think of someone who is physically able, emotionally stable, and just has all of her wherewithal to live the kind of life that she wants to live.
And you definitely model that for us. Thank you for that answer. What was your health challenge or challenges before we started working together?
Well, I noticed my balance and flexibility was certainly getting a little, I guess I'll use the word worse. I just, didn't feel as safe in my own body, kind of a thing. I was diabetic. Um, I have, other health issues. And so it was just like, I need to move. I need to get going. Everybody would say, oh, if you move, if you exercise, if you do this. And so I thought that I needed to move.
And because I've had the honor, the privilege, the benefit of working for you with you for so many years, you were working in a very sedentary position for a while before you retired. And I know that that was a part of your concern, being in the chair and doing this work at the university as you were doing, correct?
Yes, it was. And I would take a train downtown, then I would take a bus. So there'd be little spurts of walking in between, but I did spend the majority of my day um, sitting and in front of a computer or meeting with students. And it was sedentary completely.
So, can you tell the other wise women in the living room why you started working with me? Can you talk about that story a little bit more?
Sure. Um, I was actually down in North Carolina visiting my son and Tara, and I was telling her I wanted to try yoga, but because I knew she practiced it, but I didn't know what kind, I didn't know where to go. And I'd look at these pictures of the women in studios and be like, oh, that's not me. So, and she mentioned to me, she said, do you remember Nadine? And I said, yes. And she goes, well, she's teaching yoga and she does it in her house. And I was like, oh, so I got up enough courage to call you and set up the first time I was there. And it clicked. I mean, I just felt like I belonged there, and it's been great ever since.
Tell me a little bit more about that first class. What was that like?
Um, Very nerve wracking, but the other women in the class were just so kind and super. And and of course you were. And, I got the impression that, maybe I could do this. It's not a big group of people, it's, a comfortable environment. And um, I was feeling very encouraged. So I came back.
What kept you coming back? Because the audience doesn't know this, but many a time that we live in the Midwest, so there were these terrible snowy days, and I'm thinking, oh, there's no way everyone's gonna make it here. Yet you championed through whatever came our way just to make it to yoga. What kept you coming back? What did you like about the class?
It was my time. I
Hmm.
found it, a time where I couldn't necessarily relax sometimes because we were doing challenging things, but we had fun. Um, I felt like immediate benefits from, having some more flexibility than I had had in a long time. And as time went on, they only got better. So, I just, regardless, that was my night was to come to your house for yoga.
What were you noticing in your life? You mentioned being in the chair in the office and being on the bus and in the train. Were you starting to notice anything different after the yoga practice as time went on that
Yeah,
you were
I'd
able
be
to apply?
sore the next day.
Okay, that meant it was working.
But yeah, I noticed things. Suddenly I'd do something around the house that like opening a window,
Mm.
might have been a bit of a effort before, and suddenly I had this upper body strength and I was able to do something like that. I mean, that's a simple example, but um so I would take walks at lunch with one of my coworkers who walked very quickly, so I had to, move, and I think all of that movement with yoga made a difference and allowed me to do those kind of things.
Are there any surprising outcomes, maybe not necessarily physical, that you noticed after starting the yoga practice?
Well, certainly a sense of confidence, because I've learned that I can do a lot of these poses, yes, with modifications, but I can still, I can do the poses. I know some that I like more than others, but it's just important now. It's just an important part of my life. And like I said, it definitely gave me more confidence in terms of what I'm able to do. I thought I could do this. I started out not having ever been in yoga and not doing anything like this. And, you know, um, here I am, I try to benefit from it weekly. So, and during the week on my own. So,
I don't know if you know this story, but you and Pat have been in class for a while together as well. And I met Pat through a yoga class where I had been a substitute for the day. And unbeknownst to me, this was a relatively new practice for Pat as well. And she said that she was ready to quit before I came in that day, but serendipity put us together. And she said that she just really liked the way I taught the class and decided to seek me out to do yoga with her
mhm.
because she liked the modifications and she liked the individual attention. But uh, so Pat may not have been doing a yoga class and been practicing yoga for as many years as she has been now had we not had that meeting. What would your life had been like, do you think, if Tara hadn't magically put us together?
I'd probably be falling flat on my face a lot more
Mm,
often, but
mm,
no, seriously. Um, I can't imagine, to be truthful. I just never, I can't imagine that I ever would have started a yoga practice. I had tried once to go to the park district and do Tai Chi, and everybody seemed to know everybody else. And, I stood in
mm,
the back of the room and tried to copy what they were doing. And I was lost.
mm,
It was just not for me. Um, and I just can't imagine because I'm sure, well, actually, what happened when you moved to Michigan, and for a while we didn't have any practices, any, recorded practices. Um, I had joined a studio not far from my house. I thought,
mm,
okay, I can do yoga now, so I can do this. Um, and although I was a little more comfortable than I would have been originally, it the kind of yoga that it was and the teachers, I mean, the young women that were teaching it, one in particular kept saying to me, you can do this, all you have to do is try. You can do this, all you have to do is
mm,
try.
mm,
And I can't. My body does not go that way anymore. I'm 69 years old. It doesn't move that way. And I got to the point where I was like, this is ridiculous. I mean, she's bound and determined I'm going to look like a pretzel, and I'm not. So, I never would have done yoga if it wouldn't have been for you.
mm. Thank you. So, if anyone who is watching or listening to this is on the fence about a practice with us, with our community, with me, what would you say?
I'd say get off the fence and get to a practice with Nadine. Um, there's nothing about your practices that is intimidating. There's nothing that pushes us beyond what we're capable of doing, which is important, I think. You understand women. You understand women, of a certain age whose bodies don't especially want to do the things that they think they should be able to do. So I'd say definitely give it a try. Give it a good couple months and you'll be surprised at the difference that you feel.
And I will say this again. Thank you for putting your trust in me and for giving me the honor and the privilege to support you on such a journey, many journeys, really. The journey from becoming more physical to through retirement, being able to play with your grandkids. One of the most impactful stories that you've ever told me is the one where you came to class once. I don't know if you remember this. You came to class once, it was still at the house, and you were so happy to tell everyone, Pat, Janet, there, that you had been able to play with your grandson going up and down the hill behind your house for the first time in a way that really surprised you, the stamina, the ability to do it. And you attributed it to the yoga practice and
Mhm.
to the support that the community gives you. And because we're always talking about do what you start where you are, do what you can, use what you have. And apparently that empowered you to be able to apply this to the places in your life that brought you enjoyment as well. So I thank you so much, Marge, and I don't take you for granted one bit.
Yeah, oh, thank you. And I don't take you for granted either, Nadine. You know, don't ever stop. You're not allowed.
Oh, I know you. I have gotten many a text and an email like, "Hello, where are you? Remember we are on vacation this week? Okay, see you next week." So I won't be going anywhere. Thank you,
Good.
Marge.
All right. Thank you.